I want to talk about this wonderful capitalist. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's one of the best capitalists out there, who is becoming a little bit more proud to talk about it. His name is Bernie Sanders. If you've heard this guy before.
Right. Why doesn't he give his book away for free?
You're anti-union as a CEO. You're anti-union busting, or you're for union busting. I'm not saying you're anti-union. I'm just saying that it seems like to me, as a former CEO, not nearly at the success that you were at, sir, and I'm not trying to defend your company because, quite frankly, politically, we're on totally different ends of the spectrum. And so the irony of this hearing is actually kind of funny.
This guy's worth around $70 million.
And I do want to point out some hypocrisy about this hearing with the chairman.
Watch this.
It's not trying to get personal. All this information is going to be very public. But the fact that you can't defend your company because you want to have a good relationship with your employees and you believe in employee value, which we all do. Any CEO knows that the success of our companies are based on our employees. We get that. But it seems like unions today, all they want to do is fight with their employees or their employer, the same employer that is hiring those team members, and that friction causes a very volatile and tough workplace. And if the company and the employees aren't in the same boat,
Can you go 10 seconds? Keep going 10 seconds. It says Bernie is worth $8 million. Keep going.
And unions themselves.
Just test the 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds out of part.
Yeah. But I take offense to the chairman pointing out that all CEOs are corrupt because they're millionaires. You know, if you make a lot of money, you're corrupt. It's bothering to me because, Mr. Chairman, you yourself have been very successful. Rightfully so. Glad you have been. You've been in office for 28 years, and you and your wife have immersed a wealth of over $8 million. And in fact, your quote on being wealthy and being a millionaire was, well, if you write a bestseller, you can be a millionaire too. If you can be a millionaire, why can't Mr. Schultz and other CEOs be millionaires and be honest too? If that's the case, then why is it that Mr. Schultz, who actually creates jobs and a bestseller of a book, isn't creating any jobs? Why is it that he's corrupt and you're not?
Straight up one, Adam.
Why is it that all CEOs are corrupt because they're wealthy, and yet our chairman, who is wealthy, and I'm glad you are, you're not?
So fast forward now when they have their back and forth, and he's trying to defend. He says, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
To be
keep
successful
going. There you go, right there.
And lie.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Well, let me respond. The senator did mention my name, I think. And I think you got an all-time record here. You've made more misstatements in a shorter period of time than I have ever heard.
Please correct me.
Well, if I'm worth $8 million, excuse me.
It's all public.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right? Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
If I'm worth $8 million, that's good news to me. I'm not aware of it. That's a lie. All right? Number two.
Part of public records.
You're probably looking at some phony right-wing internet stuff. It ain't true.
No.
All right? You should read beyond that. It is not true.
It's part of public records.
No, it is not public record.
Okay. Well, you made $1.7 million on your book.
Public record.
You made $1.7 on your book.
Excuse me. I've got the mic now. Number
Did you not
two,
make the statement
I
that
have
if you want to
the
be a
mic
millionaire?
now.
Okay, you can pause it here. I'll get some comment, and then I'm going to show a 1-minute clip, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead. When you see something like this with Bernie going after guys like Howard Schultz, who's created 402,000 jobs, what do you think about this exchange?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. Creating value is hard, and it takes risk. And you need capital and you need labor. You need a balance between the two. But you have no value created unless you have an individual with a drive and the ambition to work the extra nights, wake up the early mornings, and assume all of the responsibility. You see, all Bernie looks at is the advantage, but he does not realize that at any time when he was CEO of Starbucks, while he was the sole owner, he could have been open to lawsuits, he could have been open to, mass client walkouts, and if it goes bankrupt, who's the one that then has to go to bankruptcy court? Are the employees then going to bankruptcy court? No, they go find another job. No, but when you're an entrepreneur, you're not saying, okay, I want the upside, but I want the downside. And guess what? Most of businesses in America go to the downside direction. They do not succeed. That doesn't mean they go bankrupt, but they shutter, they fold, or they get bought, or they just kind of taper out. And so it's very easy to criticize Howard Schultz. And I have a lot of problems with Starbucks as a company politically, but that is an unbelievably hard business to scale. I can't think of maybe your business, Patrick, might be harder, but it's pretty impressive. But I got to be honest.
Selling insurance is harder than coffee.
But think about it. It's labor intensive.
Yeah.
he turned a commodity into something that was special. So coffee was never something that was, considered to be an experience or worth paying up for. So he upsold something that was just so widespread that people would have in their homes. And you have to hire hundreds of thousands of people. The turnover is immense. You got to train them. You have to have the rent, and you got to scale it against also, once you create the genre of coffee service, immediately you have 1,000 competitors, right? Dunkin' Donuts changed their model, Krispy Kreme's, and he still stayed excellent. And so
McDonald's built cafes.
Yes, that's right. And he still pummeled them. And he still did a good job. And their coffee's not even that good at Starbucks. And he kept on doing it. And I mean, I don't think it's very good compared to most other, but I think it's admirable the way Howard Schultz defended himself, because he said, look, I earned that money. And that's one of my favorite words in the English language is earn.
That's right. And he tried to cut him off, by the way.
That's right. And Bernie Sanders has not earned anything.
Yeah.
Now, he might have some book deals or whatever, but Bernie Sanders has never, because he's a bum. He was a bum mayor of Burlington. He was a bum failed congressman, and he's a bum senator. He's never created any value in his life where he's had to say, you know what? I'm going to take risk. I'm going to assume responsibility to create voluntary value where someone's going to want to transact with me. And so Bernie Sanders enjoys being rich. He does not know what it takes to get there, but it's really the core element of the socialist worldview, resentment.
I want to show this. So for the longest time, I love that, by the way. For the longest time, he would always criticize millionaires, millionaires and billionaires, millionaires and billionaires, millionaires and billionaires. There's this 1-minute clip that was done by Think Progress. They're no longer around. It was ran by a guy named Judd, I want to say, and they were more on the Hillary Clinton side. So they did not like a socialist getting the momentum that we're getting.
For American Progress.
So he made this video, this 1-minute video on Twitter, if you can go to it, with the timeline. It's not this one, Rob, if you can find it. He made this 1-minute video. It's just go to my Twitter. Go back to my Twitter account. And if you... you should find it, Rob, if you... Again, this is one I text you as well. Right there, right there. If you can zoom out on that one. Now watch this. When you zoom out, okay, play it from the beginning. Just watch when he stops saying millionaires.
So if I'm a millionaire...
What millionaires and billionaires?
For billionaires and millionaires.
For millionaires and billionaires.
So good.
See this when he gets the
A
books.
proliferation of millionaires and billionaires.
Now watch
When
this.
millionaires and billionaires
Of millionaires and billionaires.
Day to the left.
Millionaires and billionaires. Millionaires and billionaires.
This video is made by a Democrat. by the way.
Millionaires and billionaires. Millionaires and billionaires. Millionaires and billionaires.
Boom. Now he's a millionaire. 2016.
This is a budget of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class.
But enough about me.
Billionaires in his administration.
Billionaires. Billionaires and the wealthiest people.
Billionaires and the wealthy. A handful of billionaires and other billionaires.
Billionaires.
Allow billionaires, multi-millionaires and billionaires.
Of multi-millionaires and billionaires.
If
I was
you
using
are a billionaire
multi-millionaires, not
or in
just
the top
millionaires.
1%,
We will be an administration for the working families of this country and not for billionaire campaign contributors.
The day he becomes a billionaire, it'll be called the trillionaires. I mean, that's his formula right there on what he does. Charlie, you see something like that, what do you think about?
I got a lot of work to do because he influences a lot of young people. And it's very easy to be generous with other people's money. Value is hard to come by. A free society allows people to use their reason and their agency and their abilities to create something ex nihilo, out of nothing. And we live in the wealthiest, most prosperous society ever for a reason. And he's trying to stop that. His ideas are directly against what has made this society so wealthy and prosperous, and which really is that entrepreneurial underbelly.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.